You know, in order to leave and cleave, okay, you have to know where you stand. It's not even about what you're letting go. It's about what you want to go get. It's not about who you're leaving behind. It's about who you're becoming.
And who is suffering at the hand of you not becoming her?
Because they want to keep you there. Let's talk
They
about
do.
breadcrumbing. They'll give you just enough
Just enough.
to keep you where you are, because that version of Amanda is serving them. They don't want to see you grow. They don't want to see you flourish. And that's, you know, it could be romantic partners, it could be friendships. Okay, it could be family members, because sometimes the devil be using the people around you.
It'd be the inner circle.
It'd be the inner circle.
Welcome to the Inner Circle. This episode is sponsored by M Club, co-working space by day, event space by night. This space is perfect for your upcoming celebrations, whether it's a small intimate gathering, a dinner, celebrating a milestone, or looking to do a corporate event. This is the space where you want to be. It's modern, chic, minimalistic, so you can really have fun with your creativity. Also, if you are an entrepreneur, small business owner, or looking to just get out the house and get away from that home office, M Club is a co-working space really set for you. From amazing amenities to a personal gym and having on-site chefs to really feed your needs for lunch, snacks, whatever it is, they've got you covered. So come on in, check it out today, and book your tour at hello@mworldclub.com. What's going on, world? It's your girl, Amanda J, and we're back with another episode of The Inner Circle. Y'all, today, I got my girl with me. We about to cut up, so fair share warning. It's about to be a vibe. It's my girl, Idil. Hey!
How you doing?
I'm good, Bill. You wanna,
Girl,
you ready?
Before we start,
Okay.
because the tea is teaing.
Is it?
Give me some tea, honey.
Oh, period,
Give me
period.
that. Yes, clink.
It's tea time, y'all.
Always.
Okay?
I love it.
It's the vanilla for me. But yes, y'all, we're about to get into this episode. One thing about when me and Idil get together, ain't no filters. So
That part. We're gonna try
You
today.
ready?
We're gonna try to be professional today.
it's all right. You gotta be.
Okay.
That's the inner circle. All bets are off, girl. We say what we need to
It's a
say.
safe
and
space.
That's it.
Okay,
Period.
I feel it.
So today I wanted to, listen, let me not even say what we were going to talk about today, because I had a whole topic lined up, and then me and Idil were in the bathroom upstairs getting ready. And she said something to me, and I'm just like, no, that's what we're talking about. Tell them what you say, girl.
You know, the thing is, with you and I, we are always trying to level up our conversation. And it's not year to year, it's really moment to moment.
Yeah.
It's minute to minute, right?
Period.
Sometimes we might talk about one thing, and God might bring us to another thing, right? And so we're here to release that, and we're going to do it how He wants.
Yep.
And so we just talked about survival.
Wow.
And the fact that sometimes within those pockets of survival is where we find the keys to life. And that's when God shows you your developmental moments. And a part of that is this.
Absolutely.
And here we are.
Here we are. And we're not going to lie. Y'all know by now, 2023 was my survival year. Okay? Full survival mode, all stop. And she didn't tell you all she said in the bathroom. What she said was, I can see it. You are trying to release something, and I'm telling you, just coming into bringing the inner circle back was a lot for me. It was something that I had to really process, because I was just like, how?
Yeah.
Like, the circle looks a little different, and it's not that it's not there. Those people, like, those relationships aren't still there. Some were lost.
Yeah.
This year, but also what it was is just like, just everything is changing, and I'm like, I'm in a season of separation.
Because you got to separate to elevate, honey.
Girl.
And that's what you're doing.
We hear it,
Yes.
but don't nobody want to hear it
Nobody
at the
wanna
same
do
time,
it.
because it requires so much.
Yeah.
And you said like, and I a lot of the things I've been dealing with physically, I know like it's like an attack on one end, but on the other end, like I know it's like there's a release that needs to happen.
Absolutely.
And so like I want to talk about just how like with the effects of being in survival mode and like really how to navigate through it, because a lot of people are suffering in silence. And that for me is like, I overstand.
Yes.
And I shared in a previous episode like how I really struggled this year, especially this summer. Like I thought about taking my life. And that was really hard for me to share publicly because it took me a long time to even share that privately with certain friends. And I didn't really get, I didn't share it with them to get the sympathy, like to get sympathy. I just wanted to be honest. And it wasn't always a reaction that I wanted.
Yeah.
Like in
Or
return,
needed.
you know? Yeah. So then like it kind of, sometimes it puts up walls, but I'm really navigating this survival mode, girl. Like I'm tired of it. So what is your take on like survival mode and like the traumas that you go through and how you get there, and then like moving from surviving to thriving? Cause that's the word.
Yep.
Like that's where we want to live. So talk to me, girl.
I mean, okay, you know, on a daily basis, I deal with my clients. You know, I do relationship coaching. I'm an NLP practitioner. And so when I study behavior, I know that a lot of people think it's clinical or it's like textbook.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's humanizing this healing thing, right? And so, you know, people see someone like you who, when you walk in a room, you take up all this space and you are like just such a blessing in human form, if I must say so myself. And, you know, but people think that some people are too good to go through those things. And people don't realize that, you know, you're sometimes 2 seconds away from losing your mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people think that they're stronger than they are. And so the survival part of your life is when you actually find out where you are in life, who you are, and how far you can even go, right? And it's that stretching phase. And it's when you don't even know yourself, and then you're gonna find out real fast, right? And so going back to the whole thing of taking your life, because what you and I are gonna do is we're gonna start from the rooter to the tutor, right? We're gonna start from the bottom, and we're gonna take this thing up, okay? So I feel like when you are at the bottom and you get so far where you want to take your own life, a life that doesn't belong to us anyways. You want to take what is not even yours.
Like that.
You didn't give it to yourself. He gave it to you.
It's too soon.
It's too soon? You know I come in hot. I'm sorry. I'm just built like this.
Blaze, they say that ain't even yours.
It's not even yours.
Wow.
And we're out here trying to snatch something that doesn't belong to us. And when you do that, God will grab you by the back of the neck out of his mercy, though, to show you, because only God can show you who God is.
That part.
Okay? And so I realized, you know, nobody is perfect enough or vast enough in their capacity that, you know, you won't come to a place in your life where you're like, you know what, I don't even want to live here no more.
Yeah.
Because the world is cruel.
It is.
Right? And I feel like the survival period, especially speaking about it from a specific place of a woman's capacity,
Right.
Because men be surviving differently.
Yeah.
Men can survive and figure it out still. They have a different type of, you know what I'm saying? Some. I mean, sometimes the survival is not it.
Right, for sure.
Sometimes they survive off leeching or you know, harming someone else to get up. We're not going to talk about them, though. The underdeveloped folks. We're not talking about them right now. You know what I'm saying? But for women, there's so much on our back. There's so much within us, actually. All the way from our physicality, we have the capacity to bear children. So I feel like focusing on that is so important. Focusing on the capacities within you.
Yeah.
And then, you know, understanding like, okay, doing the inventory of your life as well is so important when it comes to that survival period. So in survival, people don't know. But sometimes women will find their purpose within the survival.
Because that's the only thing
Because let me tell you
holding
something.
on to be honest.
This whole set looks real cute, right? But no one knows how far you had to come to get here.
Yeah.
No one knows how you felt in your bed this morning when you had to wake up and ask God to give you a little bit more energy just to
Why
get
you
there.
in my business?
Listen, I'm not in your business. I'm your reflection.
No, I hear
honey.
you.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a mirror.
Because you know I want to do that this morning too.
Be my mirror. That part.
So it takes one to know one.
Yeah,
you understand?
absolutely.
And the survival part, a lot of people think that, you know, it's the death of you.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to die to a certain part of you
to live.
in order to live and to become.
What is
the
journey?
so good. Listen, what is this journey anyways? What is the journey?
Yeah.
People think it's the destination. It's the becoming. The journey is the becoming.
Because that's the process.
It's the fact that
that's where the purpose is in the process. Ooh,
God,
this is
well,
good
and let me tell you where the lack in survival comes, because there's an abundance in survival and there's a lack.
Yeah.
The lack and the faults as human beings, or where we hold ourselves back from in the survival mode, is so detrimental to our development. You know, so you going into that type of trauma, or you finding yourself in turmoil, sometimes it's God's gift.
Yeah.
When he holds you back, you don't know what he's really holding you back from.
That part.
Because
we don't know what's around the corner.
We don't even know. We're so engulfed with, oh my God, woe is me and my life is this. But maybe that flat tire stopped you from getting hit by something else.
That part.
You don't know, right? So it's really just about the lack and then the abundance in the survival.
That's good, because usually we fixate in survival mode. What's always highlighted is the lack.
It's the lack.
Let's have real talk. Like,
well, let's break it down.
The abundance is like 2%,
Yeah.
but like 98% of the time when we're in survival mode, we're so fixated on what we don't have.
It's the loss.
But you know what's missing in survival mode in order to get out of it, which leads to seeing the abundance? Gratitude.
Don't start with me.
Because when you learn gratitude,
everything's good after that.
When I tell you God he grabbed me by my edges last week and
that.
said, if you don't mess around and start being grateful for what you have. Like he said, look outside. You see that car?
Yeah.
Okay. Look up. You see that roof? Go to the bathroom. You see that clean water? You have to really start to look at things differently, because when you change your perspective,
you're going to change your world.
From pessimism to optimism,
girl,
you start to see everything differently.
Yeah.
Because, for instance, when I went through my trauma in the summer, I was like, what I'm finna do next?
Yeah, what's next?
I'm supposed to be a wife by the end of this year.
Like now,
I'm supposed to be like, we already talked about this, Lord, so what is this?
We talked about this,
and then I was just like, well, if I'm not a wife, who am I? And God's like, you wasn't a wife.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
And it's just like you made a plan in your mind based on the timeline you thought I had for you, but it was really yours. And you thought you lost. But I remember my sister texting me when stuff hit the fan, and she's just like, well, we thank God.
Always.
I said,
always.
I don't want to hear that right now. And you don't want to hear it. The thing about that,
your soul needs it, but your mind don't want
Your
it.
mind's like, you miss me with that.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear, oh, thank God you dodged the bullet, or because in the moment, like, but this is where my commitment was.
Yeah.
Prior to this moment, I was committed to this thing forever. So you telling me, thank God I'm out of it, I don't want to hear that. But at the end of the day, like, when that thing clocked me and it clicked, I was just like, could you imagine had I stayed? And what my therapist, she had, when I had told her, she was just like, she said the same thing. And she's like, thank God, I got so mad at her. But she's just like, I did that for 13 years and a kid later.
Yeah.
You got to be grateful sometimes. And it's just like, that's the part that we miss.
But you see, to graduate to the gratitude, okay, because it's a graduation period, you know what I mean? Come on. Like, you have to actually go through some cruelty. You got to actually, to become calm, the cruelty needs to be there as well. There's a duality.
You almost got to get it out.
Yeah, but people don't want to accept the fact that there's a process to this thing. People want to just get it. But you're not going to get it. You got to get got first. You're not going to get.
Period. But that's the worst, because you know what the truth is, though? Because you start to see the ugliest side of you. And you're just like, well, no. I can't stay here forever.
Yeah, and then you're not going to like her.
You don't.
But you want someone else to like her.
That's the truth. And then you start to realize, if y'all ain't following, I hope y'all are.
Yeah.
But then you
it's
start
a
to
lot.
It's a lot. But then you start to realize that, but then you have to manage that. Like, because if you be like, oh, I don't like her, then you chase perfectionism.
Yeah.
And then you feel like, oh, I can only be loved if I'm this way.
Exactly.
But it's not going that to the extreme, like you'll get there, but like accepting the fact that like, I don't want to stay here though.
Yeah. And then also I think like understanding that you're supposed to be where you are. Sometimes we miss the blessing of what God is trying to show you of being still, of listening. And you know why? Because it takes a calm, collected woman to listen to what's happening around her, to listen to who created her, and to listen to what she needs. You can't do that type of inventory when you don't even know the pieces that you're working with.
That part.
Right? And so the whole lack, let's go back to the lack part. When you sit down and you're like, or God sits you down, what are you going to do from this point on? We don't ask ourselves the right questions. We don't even go through that season. Okay, sorry, girl. You know,
it's okay. Go ahead. This is for all of us.
This is for
This
is for the circle.
This is for the circle.
Okay, and the village.
Period.
And the village. So I feel like, you know, in that moment, there's a purpose in that season. And you know why people keep attracting the same thing over and over in their life is because they're not willing to marinate in that season. Sit in that. Everyone wants to run away from the trauma. First of all, I love my trauma. Let's get it out there real quick, okay?
Girl,
that's the real
same way, but we gonna let
we gonna let you graduate to that.
I'm gonna get
Girl,
there.
you better get there real fast. My trauma was a favor on me.
Yeah.
It was a covering on me. And my trauma showed me my stamina.
Yeah. Oof.
It showed me that I can run that. I didn't even know until I went through it.
That
okay?
part, you
how you gonna know?
You mess around and find out how strong you really are.
But then when you find out, you're like, oh, because guess what? Once you sit on the floor, there's only one way up. It's not that deep.
I don't remember who said it to me the other day. They're just like, I'm at the bottom of the J.
Yeah.
I said, huh?
Oh.
Like a J goes like this.
Literally.
There's only one way up.
There's only one way
it was
to
one
go
of my
up.
clients.
See?
And she was just like, this is the bottom of the J for us.
Yeah, yeah.
I said, it's only up from here.
There's only up from here, but that's only if you allow it.
That's true. Because you have to do the work.
If you don't do the work, and the first work is accepting.
Yeah.
Let's accept and acknowledge.
Yeah, that's so good.
Right? We're so, first of all, this avoidant behavior has to go, Amanda.
Yeah.
This avoidance as human beings. Okay? I'm coming for you and me and them.
Yeah, because
who
wants to confront the trauma? Who wants to deal with that? Because it's almost like you have to get broken. You know how they say sprain? Sorry.
Don't do it. I know it's coming.
Okay.
I felt it.
You know how they say because I sprained my ankle in August.
Okay.
And to this day.
Yeah, we still wiggling. Yeah.
That thing ain't healed yet. And it's funny, I'm a biology major, even though I don't use it. But
yeah,
okay,
cool. This is better.
Shameless plug.
That's
okay. Okay. And they always say, like, it's better to break a bone than to sprain it.
Ooh.
Because when it's sprained, you may or may not know the root of that pain. So you almost just treat it like you treat it in a general way. Like, oh, well, it's the whole ankle, so I'm gonna just ice the whole thing.
Yep, and not even
but
focus.
There's a specific ligament
that
is strained in your ankle,
and
it needs to be fixed. However, when you break something, you can't not see it.
Yep.
This broke right here.
Yep.
So you have you can't avoid that. You have to put those two pieces back together.
Yep.
It's like forceful realignments. But with sprains, you can avoid it. You can just medicate it, like just universal medication.
Just for now.
But you're not dealing with the root of the problem.
Yeah, but that root of the problem will always come and get you.
Period.
Always.
And I always say sometimes even in society, like you gotta, you said it, you gotta sit with yourself, because sometimes in society, when we look at information that we're getting from people, they're giving you universal information for your specific problem.
That's right.
You gotta get to the root of why you are this way. Why am I dealing with this? Like, what is this triggering in me? What's the trauma? How do I get out of the survival mode? Why do I feel like I need to survive?
No, and then another thing, like, do we ever ask ourselves, what is God teaching me right now? You keep feeling it.
Don't nobody want to hear that
lesson. Listen, this is what I do, honey. Okay.
No, facts.
You know, but like, it's like, what is God teaching me in this moment? And you know, where does all this come from? Because I know people are going to hear all these lines and they're going to wonder, but how do I do this? How do I get to that base in my life, right? And not everyone is so spiritual, and not everyone has a specific connection with their Lord. No problem. But for everyone watching, you need to understand that everything is for you and never against you.
That part.
Everything is for you. And never against you.
That part.
When you operate from that place and you operate from a place of abundance and not lack, everything is for you.
That is so good.
But what is that though? That's a mindset.
Exactly. Who said it? I don't know who said it, but I remember I was watching this sermon or something, and they're just like, things only come from two places.
Let's simplify.
Ain't all gray.
Yeah, this is black and
It's
white.
either from God.
Yeah.
Or it's from the devil.
Yeah.
It's one of the two. So like and this is where I heard it from. It was a relationship series.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, they're talking about friendships, relationships, whatever it is. Like everything, even every person that comes into your life, you need to sit there and ask, hold on, who sent you?
Who sent you? Where you going? And what's your postal code? What
Why
we doing?
are you here?
Yeah.
Because some people, you will get wolves in sheep's clothing. And sometimes when you have a desire for connection, because the way we're built and the way God created us is we're created to be connected to other people.
Absolutely, we need each
but
other.
sometimes you can almost pervert that to the point where you don't understand what it's like to be alone for a season. Then you don't know what you really want. This is really interesting,
Listen,
girl.
You know. Okay, so but I love to talk about where everything comes from.
Yes, because I wanted to ask you about trauma bonds and stuff
Okay,
like that.
let's
And
do that.
so where do you feel like, because talk to me about trauma bonds.
Okay. First of all, a lot of people feel like, oh, this person traumatized me. Mm-hmm. A lot of people love to play the victim. Mm-hmm. And no problem, there's a lot of victims. Mm-hmm. We've all actually been victims once upon a time in our lives because we were young and didn't know much, right? Or we were grown and still didn't know much, that part. But, the trauma bonding, let's break it down to the bonding part.
Yeah.
The bonding comes from the fact that there's a place within you that's also toxic. So you will attract what you already are. And if that part wasn't in you, that person wouldn't even have space to even be around here. And a lot, I go around to these different conferences and many different places in the world, and I try to empower women to let them know, like, you giving way too much space for a lot of people at the table that don't even belong at your table. And a lot of the times it is the opposite gender. I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah.
We're out here blaming men for everything. But you created that space. Men will be the hunters, honey.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to be hunted and there's no space for that,
Yeah, it's how you position
he can't
yourself.
even come. Exactly.
That's so good.
Right? Because men also know within the first few seconds of meeting you which category in their life you belong in.
And we really be sleeping on dudes. Like, we think they're so, like, we like to put guys in this category like they don't know and they don't have awareness of, like, being able to tell your weaknesses. These men are
listen,
men are not dumb.
They smell you from far.
Men are not dumb.
They know.
Like, they literally, they're more aware than we give them credit.
And they know if you know. They know if you know yourself.
That's a fact.
Because let me tell you something. When a woman trusts herself, she moves different, Amanda.
Talk to me about how did she move, girl?
Listen, I'll tell you how she moves,
How
honey.
she move?
I'll tell you how she moves, okay? She moves different with her money, with her life, with God, with love, with her trauma, with her broken pieces. She makes that thing into art pieces. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, girl.
And a lot of women, what do we hear? Don't trust a man. Don't you dare trust a man, right?
Yeah.
Why do you need to trust a man when you trust yourself? And what are we scared of anyways? You scared that he's going to wrong you? What if you trusted yourself so much that it didn't matter what he does around here? Because if he does you right, thank the Lord, Moni do it. And if he does you wrong, you're going to pick up where you left off because people can't take what's in you.
Yeah.
They can take what's on you.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and take my mic if you want.
Yeah.
But what you're not going to do is take what's in me, right?
Girl.
And so once we get clear as women who we are, where we're going, and what we need, and you trust yourself and you trust God, everything aligns with or without anybody else.
That's so good.
Because when it's aligned, ain't nobody breaking that.
That part.
Yep.
And they say it all the time. My pastor, Pastor Darius Daniels, he says this. He says, relationships, like, they're not addition, they're multiplication. It's not 1 + 1 = 2.
Nope.
It's 1 times 1 equals 1. That's two whole people
coming together
and creating one unique thing. But I don't know, like, it's where do I want to go with this?
Yeah,
I'm just like,
a lot.
There's so many alleys. Like there's the trauma bond thing, but then there's like.
Let's go back to trauma bonding.
I want to ask a different question related to trauma bonds.
Let's do it.
Now, sometimes they say like, okay, you need to heal first before you get in a relationship. But sometimes relationships are healing mechanisms.
Okay.
For you. Do you feel like? Because this is where perfectionism can be a problem. Because
Yeah.
we feel like we have to be perfect and fully developed in order
Yeah.
to become.
There could be avoidance there.
Yeah, like in order to be a wife. Or like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just like, do you feel like, is there a level of healing that you need to get to before you should start dating, or a level of healing that you need to get to before you start like entertaining the opposite sex or
Yes,
whatever that
ma'am.
looks like? You know what I mean? Like, and what is that level? Like,
I'll tell
because
you.
you know, it's not complete wholeness. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay,
I ain't
I'll
trying to
tell
be out
you.
these streets forever.
Listen, no, not forever. Forever? No.
No.
You know, people don't realize that healing is a forever thing.
It is.
What you gonna
that
do?
part.
Stay single forever? That's
Yeah.
not what you're gonna do.
Period.
So, but you do have to heal to a certain degree that you don't go around harming God's creation. Because that's not your business.
Yeah.
Right? And why are you even coupling with someone? It's to better yourselves. It's to, become one. It's
Yeah.
but what are you becoming one with?
Yeah.
You also need to become one with a partner that also wants to work on themselves, right? But the level, the bare minimum of healing is that your reactions and your lifestyle is not directly related to someone else's actions.
That's so good. Say that again.
Because as a woman, let's say you're in a relationship, you might be with Mr. Ray, and you might be doing all the wrong things with Mr. Ray.
That part.
And guess what? God will snatch him right back, just like you met him.
Yep. Right
Because
partner,
he didn't
wrong
sign up-
timing.
he didn't sign
wrong
up for this.
relationship.
That man was praying.
Yeah.
You're not gonna mess with his prayers. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So I feel like you can mess around and fumble your own relationships and your connections with people and your alignment by you being out here sprained like this ankle.
That's like, cause it's like the saying, hurt people
Hurt people, right? And so the bare minimum for anyone who's watching is that you can get to a place where you've done inventory,
Yeah.
self-inventory, where you know where this person should stand in your life and where you want to, be to someone
Right.
else, and that you have at least a little bit of self-awareness that you can control yourself. The minimum is for you to have a little bit of emotional intelligence,
Yeah.
emotional regulation.
Yeah.
That's my favorite topic, okay? Because if you can't regulate yourself,
Yeah.
there's chaos. Everywhere there's no
Yeah.
regulation, there's always
Yeah.
chaos.
That's
and
good.
so I think if you cannot control yourself, to a point where you're going to go and become trauma to someone else, we need to break that cycle. Right? And so I think, at least be on the healing journey so that the person
said
can
something.
multiply with you.
Let's talk about cycles. Because you just said something. And oftentimes when you're in a cycle, it's like a hamster on a wheel.
Yeah.
You can't even tell
Nonstop.
that you're in the same cycle. And I found myself relationally in a
Yeah.
cycle. And it had nothing, like the types of men varied, but the results were always the same. Because
Yeah.
for me, I'm a helper. I'm a visionary, but I'm also a helper. Like, you got to give me something to build.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man of God.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I need something to help, to support.
Correct.
But sometimes at the fault of my own purpose and my own visions and the things that I've been given in my hands to do. Don't sip the tea now, girl.
Now we're
So
talking.
I like, one thing about cycles that I found was like, cycles, sometimes they may initiate
Okay.
from generational
Yeah, that's right.
like generational traumas or whatever that may be, or generational curses or whatever people say, or I say that too. But oftentimes the fact that when you're still on the wheel, that's a you thing now. Like, yeah, you inherited it, but you kept it in your hands. You didn't put it down. You didn't do the work to navigate. And I realized I didn't do the work
Yeah.
at one point. Like, and it doesn't come from my mom. So I'm just like, I don't
Or your
know
dad.
where in the bloodline it came
Yeah,
from.
yeah.
But actually, I think it came from, it was the women on my dad's side. I realized that there was a cycle of like marriages that weren't really
Working out.
and it was hard to see that, because it's just like, okay, well, that ain't gonna be me. Hopefully not. And not even some of my mom were successful, but like there was like a failure of women born with my last name
Got it.
being in successful relationships. And I said, oh no.
Yeah, the longevity was
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And I feel like my generation and my family has broken that. But the thing is, we all had to change our names. So now what?
So now what? We're going to start over, just hit
But
the
it's
reset button?
crazy because the men
Yeah.
who married and women's name changed to my last name, success.
Wow.
It didn't make no sense.
Wow.
And I realized like there's something generationally that the enemy is trying to do
absolutely.
through Samuel's born women.
Yes.
But I decided, and so did my generation, like that's not gonna happen.
No, we're gonna change
and
that.
it took time. So for me, I couldn't find the root of my cycle. Like, what is it that keeps me going back to unfinished men or broken men or beta men or men without the capacity to emotionally handle my emotions as well as their own, or men without emotional intelligence, or men without clarity on what
where
it
they're
is they
going.
want to do and where they
Direction.
want to go, and the legacy. Like, it's just like, how did they swindle me into this? And I know, like, knowing my foundational principles, like legacy matters.
Yep.
I want to be with somebody who desires to be in a
Absolutely.
relationship. Monogamy matters.
Say that part
Like
again.
somebody who wants to be a father, and it's just like, but how do I keep ending up in this cycle? And I don't know. Like, I've figured out what the issue was, and I found out that the root of it was an inner work. Like, I didn't accept and love myself, flaws
Enough.
and all.
Yes.
Like, I love myself, just not enough.
Enough for someone else to love you the right way.
Yes. So when they would drop the ball, it's just like, oh, it's like an over abuse of grace.
Yeah. Not a moment of silence
It's
for
a
that.
moment of silence.
You heard that, right? I felt that.
It's like an over abuse. It's like an over abuse of grace. It's like,
It's the unlimited.
to the point where, because I get it. It's needed. Like, it's something that we practice daily, but like at the expense of love
Not at the expense of you.
and self-love and how you view yourself and your potential and who God's called you to be. It's like, I had to reel it back in and be like, you need to love yourself enough to believe that the actual vision in your mind, because let's not act like it doesn't exist.
It's
The
there.
standard in my mind of what I desire exists.
yeah.
And it's not far reaching. It's attainable. And it's just like, you just have to decide that it's for you and become the woman that you see in that vision, so that you will attract
Hey.
the man
Hey.
that you see
Hey.
in that vision. Like, that was a word for me.
Yes.
Like, sometimes we're so fixated on becoming this boss chick
Yeah.
and that's cute and all. Like, don't get me wrong. I know I'm a visionary
that's a
and
part
I'm
of
a
it.
business owner.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm also a wife.
Yes.
I'm somebody's
Yes,
wife.
somebody.
La femme de quelqu'un.
Somebody's
Like,
gold-
period. French. Like, I am.
In every language.
So, and I'm somebody's mom.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
had to like find the balance of like not limiting myself
Yeah.
to what's presenting itself to me.
you, wow.
Because it's not like I'm going up to these men.
No, they're coming to you.
So the question
for
is,
sure.
what about me is attracting them to come over here and not deposit but withdraw?
So the thing is about the one-way street.
Girl.
Okay. You know I love my ladies. Okay, but we need to graduate from mothering men and actually being with them. Because a man wants a wife. He does not need another mother, right? For the men who have mothers. And there's a thin line of nurturing your man and being there for him and being his covering and being a helpmate versus trying to spoon feed him something that he's supposed to be going and getting himself.
Girl.
Men also don't function well in those environments.
Yeah, they
so
don't.
People,
That's very
I
true.
feel like women need to also study male psychology.
That.
Because if you're gonna be with them,
Yeah.
you better know them.
And that's the deficit.
That's where we
though,
get it wrong.
Because we spend so much time
We're assuming.
studying women,
Rule number one:
assuming what men want and what men think, and it never.
it's never right.
It's never
Yeah,
right.
can we just put it down?
Like-
Because it's not it.
No,
right?
absolutely.
So I feel like once you study male psychology, and you don't have to be no psychotherapist to do that,
No, for sure.
or any of that, but you do have to look at the society. Just
Yeah.
look outside, honey. Right?
That's
These
it.
men are outside. How are they outside? They're
Lady,
working.
She said it.
I
The
said
men
it.
are apparently
yeah,
outside.
quote me, honey. The good and the bad. Okay.
All of the above.
All of the above. But once you know what they're doing and how they move, you'll understand how they will move in your household
Yeah.
and within the relationship. When men go outside, honey, they follow rules and regulations. They got healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
They come on time to work, but don't come on time to the date. And those things are not accepted other places in their life. And men strive when they have something to strive for. So I wish that women would do some inventory, one of my favorite words, and also once you become a woman that is no longer chasing a man, because what you chase doesn't chase you.
Yeah.
It's unhealthy. 90% of men are not attracted to a woman who's
That's a
being
fact.
that assertive and wants to go chase, because now you're taking him out of his seat.
I personally can't.
I can't do it. I will never do it. We're not doing that.
I know. Shout out to you who have like are bold. No, I'm just not.
No
I'm
problem.
not that bold or confident.
Yeah, but you know, the healthy
that.
masculine, they want to go after what they
Yeah.
what they deem valuable, right? And so
Yeah.
I feel like it's very important to let a man be a man, right? But then also now, if we look at what is our role as women in this relationship dynamic, and these are the things that also get us into these traps of like the trauma dumping and the trauma bonding and all that. It's the fact that, you know, a woman's job is not to seek.
Yeah.
We're not the seekers.
You got to position yourself
The
to be
feminine
found.
is a receiver. You give me a
Yeah,
home.
yeah.
You give me a house.
I give you a home.
You give me your seed. I give you a child. Right? You give me money. I might make that money make money. We have certain powers, darling.
Yeah, absolutely.
But a woman's job in a man's life is to multiply.
Yeah.
God gave us that, and they don't have that.
Yeah.
Right? And so, what
and
is
to
our
also bring some peace, because that's the one thing that men I hear every
man wants.
day.
Okay, look, can we quickly just insert
Yeah,
that
let's
real quick?
insert that.
'Cause men be like, oh, I want a woman that will be my peace. She's not supposed to be your peace, nor is that her responsibility. She's here to multiply your peace.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the
But
multiplication.
that's good, because that goes both ways. That's so good,
It's facts.
because when men say because some of them say they want peace, and some of them say they want a woman to be their peace. But the truth of the matter is, and this is where I do put onus on the woman, is like we have to find our own peace within.
Here I come, okay? Here I come. A woman's role is not to seek, and it's not to fix, and it's not to mother. It's to become the best version of herself, that it becomes contagious to everyone around her. It's that your
But it's
husband
ordained for one.
Okay? And what I mean by everyone around her is her husband,
no, for
her
sure.
children,
Absolutely.
her household, her parents, her kin, right?
That's so good.
They will benefit from the residual of your growth,
Absolutely.
right? But if you're out here not growing,
Ooh, you just said something. I got a question.
residual.
This episode is sponsored by Boss Sips, the official drink for everyday bosses. Boss Sips is a natural loose leaf tea brand coming to you in 2024. Y'all, shameless plug, it's your girl's brand. And we have 4 amazing flavors, and we are growing slowly but surely. So, watch us sip on our Boss Sips, but stay tuned for more Boss Sips.
Come back to it, darling.
No, it was the growing.
The growing.
Because a lot of, and this is no shade, because I understand the reality of when you get into relationships, like your focus changes. But I there sometimes
Neglect.
there is a cycle of when you get married and you have kids, there is a self-neglect
And it happens real fast,
real fast.
right after the honeymoon.
And I really don't want to bamboozle my husband.
No, we're not doing that.
No, it's not. I don't think it's right. But I understand that there's a lot to manage. And I'm not even a wife or a mom, so I'm not speaking on behalf of wives and moms. I just want to talk about, it's something I've actually prayed to God about, like, Father, help me to not let myself go. Because at the end of the day, because I take the time to study men, I understand their wiring and their visual. So if they don't like what they're looking at, you can't get angry. Like, I get it. We've made this covenant and you better keep it. But at the same time, we got to start doing our parts.
Once again.
And it's hard. And it's mad because this is, the right relationships will get you right. But the wrong relationships will get you all the way wrong.
Yep.
Girl, I was my biggest
Yep.
weight.
I know. I see the shed, honey. You done shed that off. When that went, that went too.
Girl, when it went,
It went too.
It went.
I was there.
Because I was like, how did I? It's a girl. True story.
Yep.
Yesterday, I went to Popeyes.
Okay.
I've been fasting all week.
Okay.
Leading up to this, and
Nice. I
I'm
love
just
that.
like, I don't want nothing, but I just want, like, the little mini deltas.
Yeah.
A little mini sandwich.
Yeah.
Child, I went to that Popeyes. The girl was just like, hey. I'm like, all right, because I know these people by my house. When
Not
I
the
was
first
fat.
name.
And when I was doing too much.
Okay.
And what's it called when you
When you
stress
overeat,
eat?
yep.
There we go. And I wasn't really eating. I think my body was just holding all that stress.
Yeah, it's survival.
But literally, the girl said to me at the the girl said to me, hey, you're the one who had a baby, right? And I said,
not a whole child that doesn't exist.
I'm like, no, that was my sister. No, that was my sister. Or like, oh, no, like, yeah, it wasn't me. No.
Oh.
And then I was just like, and then like time passed and she gave my food. She's like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, honey, it's okay. I was just fat, but I lost weight.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I had to own it because I even recognized that, like, I was just not optimal at all. And it affected me. And that's because I was in a situation that was draining me,
Survival.
but at the same time, like, adding extra weight that wasn't mine.
That
And I
weight.
remember that first week after the separation, I literally dropped 5 pounds.
Yeah, it's the shedding.
I was just like, so I want to talk about that. Like, I want to talk about, like, the importance of us just, like, shedding, but, like how do I explain this? Because the shedding is important, but, like, how do you, I don't know if it's avoid, because you can't really avoid certain relationships, but it's like, how do you navigate, like, knowing when to leave a situation when the timing is up without it having to drain you before you do so? And it's hard, especially when it comes to abusive relationships, because those are different. That's a mental
It takes everything out of you
bond.
to leave.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about that.
You know, in order to leave and cleave, you have to know where you stand. It's not even about what you're letting go. It's about what you want to go get. It's not about who you're leaving behind. It's about who you're becoming.
And who is suffering at the hand of you not becoming her?
Because they want to keep you there. Let's talk about
do.
breadcrumbing. They'll give you just enough.
Just enough.
To keep you where you are, because that version of Amanda is serving them. They don't want to see you grow. They don't want to see you flourish. And that's, you know, it could be romantic partners. It could be friendships. Okay. It could be family members. Because sometimes the devil be using the people around you.
It'd be the inner circle.
It'd be the inner circle with the inner fire in the circle.
It'd be the inner.
No extinguisher.
Like,
okay.
We're not gonna.
Come on. Okay?
Absolutely.
And sometimes you be the casualty, and we can't do that.
No.
Okay?
Absolutely.
And I feel like, you know, you have to be confident and not be afraid to lose.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I'm at a place in my life where I'm not afraid to lose anything or anyone.
That's so good.
You want to know the answer?
Why?
Release. You know who I release to? The one who created this, that, the situation, the people in it, all of that. When you release creation back to the creator, you no longer have problems. When you could release your own child back to the one who created it, what's a man, what's friends, what's family members, in-laws, it's about not only that, how about you release yourself, your flaws, your bad habits, your issues, your childhood trauma. How about you reparent that?
Right.
We have so much unlearning to do.
And you know what the crazy part is? Like, you just said something, and I remember when I actually got my release, and my release wasn't just for this trauma, but it was, this season of transition for me was it came with a lot of loss to begin with. Like, I lost the relationship, which for me was a forever thing.
Yeah.
And we're talking about ring shopping. We're talking about wedding date set. We're talking about the whole works. And then I lost friendships. And I mean, like, not like, oh, the ones on the outskirts. I'm talking about, like, there was a separation that God forced me into, like, from the people that would normally be my sounding board.
Your snipers?
Yeah, like, just, you know, like the people that you call and that you could tell them, like, you have an inner, like, there's the 12 and then there's the 3.
Yeah, and then there's the chosen family.
Yeah, and it's just like, and I remember going through that separation in the midst of going through this transition from that relationship to where I am now. And in the midst of all of that, right here in this venue, was when the night I found out about what was happening in my relationship was the same night God gave me the confirmation to do this again.
Wow.
And publicly, with the person in the room, God said, this is where I'm taking you, and this is what I'm doing in you.
And they're not coming. There's only
That
one seat.
was the hard. It's only one seat.
It's a one-seat car sometimes.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, have you ever, I never understood it until this season of my life.
Yeah.
2023 that you talk about.
Yeah.
I went through a lot of different transitions, but I realized that you want to go places, but sometimes not everyone is coming with you.
Sometimes ain't nobody coming with you.
No, it's the alone thing. Have you ever heard people say, like successful people will tell you,
Yeah.
it's lonely at the top. I never understood that.
Girl.
Because I'm so village mentality.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
If I'm winning, you're winning.
Period.
I'll call you and be like, hey, Amanda, there's this thing.
Yeah.
Get it, girl.
Mhm.
Right? Because
Absolutely.
I also need a group of successful women around me.
Yeah.
Right? And we're going to come back to
And
that
women
with the
chasing
relationship.
purpose.
Come on. Okay?
Yeah.
So, but I feel like it's lonely at the top because sometimes people don't want you to even get there. It's the crab in the bucket.
That part.
Okay? And it will hurt and harm others that you're bettering yourself.
Yeah.
That you're not depressed on a couch anymore.
And honestly, sometimes it's because God won't allow other people to take the credit for what he's doing. I remember when I got that word. It was like 5 years ago. And he was just like, nah, nobody's going to get the credit but me.
And sometimes,
I said,
you bring people along and they think that they have ownership over
yeah,
what you
and
built.
it's just like, no. And I remember even this whole process, how things worked out. He's just like, only I will get the credit for doing this through you. And that was hard. Let me tell you something. Girl, in February,
Okay.
this is like a week and a half after I got my engagement ring shopped in size.
Okay.
I went at my American clients were doing a conference here.
Okay.
And I'm the event producer, so I'm working the event.
Sure are.
Ciao. So my car was used to like pick up all the guests. Because I'm like, I don't need it anyways, go ahead, take it. The woman came down, Pastor Tiffany from Prophetess.
Okay.
Let me just start with that.
Love it.
Prophetess Tiffany
Love it.
came down from the States and she spoke that night. Before she even preached, she's like, oh, the driver's girlfriend. And she's talking about me. She didn't even know who I was or what I did. Meanwhile, whole event.
Wow.
And I remember sitting there and I was there and I was like she was giving me a word and she just like, I was sitting in my seat and all I could hear was the word contracts. I was like, excuse me? Talk about it. 'Cause we need some contracts.
Yeah.
But she's just like, and God is saying like, there's going to be a season of partnerships and collaborations. But she's like, oh, but first. And when she said, but first, I was standing amongst people, like my people in my circle and my partner. And something said, take 2 steps forward. I said, okay. So I took 2 steps forward and she's just like, but first, there's going to be a standalone season. I said, what? I just got my ring size.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Alone.
There's no alone. This is together.
There's no alone in the cards for me.
We're together.
I said, there's no alone in the cards for me. She's like, there's going to be a standalone season.
Yeah.
And I was like bamboozled. Girl, I barely heard the rest of the word.
Yeah.
I was on the phone with that client last week. And they're just like, do you remember the word? And I'm like, no, I don't actually. She's just like, I'm gonna send it to you.
You're gonna rewatch this.
I've been listening to that video
on repeat.
every day because it was just like, she's just like, and your name will reach from the north to the east to the south. And he's sending investors for vision.
What? Don't do that.
I said, what?
You say it again.
Girl, I was like, what's going on right now?
What's going on right now?
It was literally, I literally like, and then just sitting here. This is a investors for vision. This is a vision I got like 3-4 years ago. And it's just like, just walking into that reality. Like sometimes when we feel alone, we feel like, oh, something's wrong with us or something like we're not personable or whatever. And if you have the wrong people around you, they'll make you feel that way. I remember somebody was like, oh, you're not approachable. Oh, you're not like, you're hard or like, you have a lot of walls up. So it's like, it's hard to reach you. And literally the first meeting I had with my mentor, she's just like, you know, you're so approachable. I said,
you are.
I've been battling in my mind for 3.5 weeks, a close family member telling me I wasn't. So I felt like I wasn't. But sometimes it's not their fault that they just can't see what's on you. And sometimes God will purposely put blinders on the people around you for you to be like, even if nobody sees it, will you believe what I'm saying to you?
Listen, people, you said blinders?
Blinders.
You know, deaf, dumb, and blind. Okay? You know, just while you were talking, something hit me so hard. Do you know, well, I believe, that God will allow people to harm you on purpose.
Period.
They will say the negativity to you.
It's a fact.
But it's pushing you towards greatness.
It's a fact.
He wants to get them out of your life. So he has to create those situations that
Or
are
highlight
tough
them.
or highlight them and make it so big and bad for you to feel like it's just, you can't even miss it type thing, so that they can leave your life. Because if they didn't harm you, you would have had a whole bunch of snakes in your garden. And you know what snakes do? They get close to you first. Okay, they're going to size you up before they eat you alive.
Girl.
So God knows what's in the hearts, though. And he
telling
hears
you.
conversations that we don't hear. And then what do we keep praying for? I keep making this prayer.
That's so good. Hold on. You said he
hears conversations you don't hear.
You don't. Because I'm telling you, sometimes I will be in a room and I will look at somebody and be like, I know you're talking about me.
Right?
I just not going to tell you, but I know.
Yeah, look at that.
You just know.
It's the navigation of the heart, honey.
Yeah.
It's God telling you. Because listen, he created these folks.
Period.
He knows who they are and what they do. And he knows the hearts.
And sometimes people have bad seasons, and that's fine.
And that's okay.
Because sometimes you got to just reposition them. Like, oh, okay.
And the person who wronged you might have wronged you for that purpose.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not even
thrust you
maybe they're not even
into
wrongdoers.
your future.
And so I'd say thank you to all the people who have harmed me, who have wronged me.
That's a fact.
You know, it showed me. It also allowed me to have more mercy on people, because I'm gonna say it loud and clear, and I said it on my podcast. I'd rather be the wrongdoer, and I'd rather be the one getting wronged any day than to be the wrongdoer.
Absolutely.
So they're the ones who are in a worse position.
Yeah.
So it makes you actually have more capacity for human beings, and the more people that wrong you, the more God shows you that you only need Him.
Yeah.
And that everyone else is, just additional to your life. And so I feel like it all brings us back down to attachment. And attachment styles. People need to go Google it. Do whatever you got to do after you watch this episode, folks.
Give us a few.
Okay. There's the fearful avoidant. There's the dismissive. There's the anxious. Okay, but let me tell you something. The best one, the one that we all need to get to, okay, is the one that's safe and sound. Okay. It's the safe and sound attachment style that is a healthy attachment style. It's not fearful. It's not avoidant.
Oh, you just said something
It's
romantic.
not a girl. I'm feeding it to you.
Yeah. This is good.
And the title of it is Secure Attachment. Because when you're secure and your toes are on the floor, honey,
girl,
the security
I
comes
hear
from
you.
within. We keep wanting other people to protect us and to provide for us things that we don't protect and provide within ourselves.
Yeah.
And you want someone else to come do that for you.
That is so good.
Right? But you have to clench your own pearls sometimes, honey, and hide your own stuff.
Period.
And then people can value you.
That's so good.
Yeah.
You know what I discovered this year? And the thing is, I actually discovered it 3 years ago.
Okay.
I just forgot.
Okay. It just came back this year.
Because I write. When I don't write often,
Yes.
but when I'm I feel this
Yep.
I'm gonna use a church word, unction.
Yeah, the unction is real, honey.
when I feel this unction, I just get up and I write. And I remember I was just, something told me this week, I've just been reminiscing, like just going back on past notes that I write. I wrote poetry sometimes. Sometimes I just write what my heart's feeling. And I discovered this year, or rediscovered this year, that for me, above all else, what I value most is safety. It's
That's a woman thing.
And it's not, financial. It's like feeling or being in a space
where you don't have to look behind you.
I don't have to be nobody but me. I don't have to pretend. I don't have to avoid conversations. I can have honest conversations. I can be transparent about my feelings. And I know that even if you correct me in that moment, I'm okay, because I know your correction comes from love. You ever been corrected by somebody you love and it don't come from love? No, you can't love
and
me
you can't
and
even
correct
receive
me
it.
like that.
You can't even receive it.
And it's it's hard because then you rebuttal the same energy that you
Yeah,
received, and then
yeah.
you become this
This
buffy.
thing, yeah.
That's where the masculine energy comes from. But it's just I realized and I've noticed it and I've clocked. My body tells me. I've been spending a lot of time with self.
Listen.
And my body will tell me when I do not feel safe.
Yep. That's what it is. But can you hear yourself?
Yeah.
Can you hear your body? Because let me tell you something. Your body will deal with what your mind is not willing to deal with.
It will. If you don't want to say it, it's going to come out one way.
The tension headaches.
Absolutely.
And the jaw clenching.
Absolutely.
And the menstrual cycle that's not coming on time.
Absolutely.
And the infertility. Okay. It's a lot. And all the fibroids that we're dealing with as women.
Listen.
When were we so unhealthy as people?
Listen. And I realized I have been, when I discovered I had PCOS and I had fibroids and cysts and all that. I was just, and then the mass on my left side, I'm like, this don't make no sense.
Yeah.
But it's just like
It's the
this
wellness.
year,
Yeah.
not even this year, this last quarter of 2023 has shown me immensely
Yeah.
how much both myself and my body
Yeah.
values safety.
Yeah.
Because everything changes. When you're able to just
Blossom. Yes.
and exhale
Yeah.
and actually be still and know that there's no judgment, there's no, like, that's honestly where the concept of the inner circle came from.
It's inner.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
it's like I want to create an environment where people can come and have honest, authentic conversations and
right.
just feel safe.
That's right.
Like, because we sit there and we be in our heads having these conversations. No, I don't want you to have it by yourself.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the
exactly.
things that you don't actually normally talk about, but you
Exactly.
want to talk about.
And you know what? You know how I know that's real, Amanda? If we're going to get real, because I know this is the real,
Yeah, yeah,
okay?
absolutely.
You and I didn't know each other for that long.
No. We met this summer.
We met this summer, and it was a handful of times
Mm-hmm.
before I felt like I knew you forever. And it didn't take that long for us to be able to talk about
Yeah.
deep things, and for me to feel safe with you, and for you to feel safe with me.
Oh, that's so good.
And it's true, though.
Yeah, it's so true, though.
right?
It is.
We could be in a whole somebody else's event.
Yeah, period.
And we'll talk about, girl.
A whole
Things that
somebody
happen-
else's
not Amanda J's event
yeah,
production.
no, but we're at a whole other
whole
event.
event that
and
we
just
both got dressed
vibing.
to. I didn't even know you was gonna be there.
Yeah, I know.
And you know, my energy and your energy aligned, but we were able to leave there feeling lighter.
And you know what's mad? I got there feeling heavy as hell.
I know.
Because I was actually having a decent day.
Yeah.
And I was encountered by someone in my previous inner circle. And they had done something, and it was just like I was
Felt the
talking to
shift.
them, and
Yeah.
I knew one that they had been talking about me,
Jeez.
and two, there was this dismissiveness, and I was
Yeah.
just like, nah, something is like,
Yeah.
and it shifted my girl. I called my girl after that, and I'm like, my entire
Mood. Yeah.
mood, my mental, everything just shifted. And a lot of people don't have that capacity.
They don't have that awareness.
But they don't have that effect on me either.
Okay. Yes. Because it's not easy to move you
but
like
that's
that.
when I realized I needed to shuffle the cards.
Absolutely. Because
Like
that's
the
strong.
deck needs to shuffle,
'Cause that's
because if
strong.
so many people have that ability, like, and even in your circle, you got to be careful. One, like that same girl I called, she was just like, she says this to me all my time. Shout out to you, Trisha. She says, "Care, don't carry."
Don't carry it. Sometimes you got to take that thing off your
I
back.
said, "Care, don't,
Don't
carry."
carry.
That is an entire word in itself.
Yeah, because how are you able to do that? Like, how can you do that? For the women that want to know, because, you know,
Yeah.
it sounds good to be like, care, don't carry. But then my next question as a woman would be, so how do I do that? Right?
Yeah. So I'm still learning that principle, but one of the things that I've allowed myself to engage with is that I will allow myself to sympathize and even empathize. But when the moment is done,
It's done.
the moment is done.
We clock out.
The emotions have to detach.
Love it.
Like, if it's a matter of like, okay, that moment's done and I still feel that the weight on me, I have to pray.
Yeah.
Because I cannot carry this.
It's not for you.
Because there's so many other things that I need to carry.
Absolutely.
And and care for. So when you realize that you have to be really careful of who you allow access to pour their emotions
Yeah, the
into
energy
you.
is real.
Because that transfer is serious. I remember I was struggling with comparison this year. I ain't never struggled with that.
Ooh.
I said, so you know what I did? I said, God, who's that from?
Yeah, where is that?
And I literally looked around my circle and I said, who's struggling with this?
Yeah.
Because it's not me. I don't struggle with this. And it was just like, it's like when you realize sometimes and you can identify that you're dealing with something that you don't usually deal with.
love that.
It's like somebody around
that.
you is carrying this spirit
Yeah.
and they're not releasing it.
Yeah, and it's contagious.
And it is transferring.
Yeah, it's
and it's
transferring.
like, and you need to either one, deal with that in them,
Yeah.
or two, create a degree of separation.
That's it.
So when I was going into my transitional period, I had to separate for a season from a few of my friends. And for some of them, the relationships may have been lost forever.
Yeah.
For others, I'm sure God will spin the block on them. But it's just like, in this season, when you're in transition, you're so sensitive.
Exactly.
You have to be so careful.
Yes. Your bag's got to be packed tight,
Period.
honey, okay?
Period.
Not everyone can come travel with
Absolutely.
you. And you know, it is very powerful, and we need to be very mindful of, as you said, who we keep around. Because the company you keep is usually what you will reap. You know what I mean?
Whew, that's good.
Somebody write that down.
That's good. Take a note.
And you know,
the company you keep is the
things you reap, honey.
Whew,
Okay?
Lord.
I didn't even know I was going to say that.
No, but it's a bar.
It just came.
It's a bar.
But, you know, like, at that event, let's go back to that event. I was also having a rough time
That's the
and a
name of
rough
this.
day.
The episode is going to be called "The Company You
The
Keep
is what
is
you reap.
What you reap."
Well, that's right.
Yes.
And so when I walked in, I remember I didn't notice nothing. I was recording, you know, what was right in front of me. And that's because I didn't read the room right away. Because I was already lost in my own little transitions. Right. And then I looked over to you. I didn't even look over to you. I heard your voice. And you was giving me compliments from the second I walked in the door.
Absolutely, girl. Because
You're like, is that my beautiful sis?
It was gonna give you a face.
Listen, honey. Okay.
serve it.
We got different looks, different days. You know what I'm saying?
Different looks, but different days.
We might wear a hat one day, and we might, you know what I'm saying, wear another scarf one day. So when I walked in, you know, you spoke life into me so fast.
And it's crazy because I ain't got.
Listen,
I
and
ain't
you didn't
had-
have.
I
You
didn't
gave
have
me
anything.
You gave me what you didn't have.
But sometimes that's how you get it.
Touch me on that. Touch me on that. Touch me
Sometimes
on
you
that.
gotta know where you're depositing
Listen.
because if you make the right deposit into the right account,
It will
i.e.
always come
relationship,
back.
You will get that. You will get a withdrawal.
Yes. Because when your light is off and mine is lit,
Instant
we're still
withdrawal.
good.
When I tell you, I made a
Girl.
deposit and I got instant withdrawal.
right on the
And
same.
you know the banks like to give you 5
Come
to 7
on.
days. No, sir.
No business days.
No
It was
business day. Instant.
There's levels to this
Girl,
thing.
that's
Okay?
so good.
I
Ooh.
walked in.
Uh-huh.
You gave me what I needed. And then I became the space for you to tell me whatever you were able to deposit, withdraw, release, everything.
Yeah.
And I was able to give you that space.
No judgment
Because
zone.
you gave me a little bit of fuel.
Yeah.
And we turned the fear into our fuel within that moment. And you know, and then it became our event.
It did.
We had a therapy session.
We did.
And we didn't even care who was around.
We didn't.
And it was necessary.
It was.
I didn't even know you were coming to that event.
I know.
But you know who did? God did.
God knew.
God
He orchestrated
knew. He
that
did.
whole thing.
And it was necessary. And
Yeah.
from then on, you know, in my opinion, when you want to walk with a woman, her problems could become your problems, meaning that you could hold space. It doesn't mean you have to fix your friend.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But it's about praying for her.
Yeah.
It's about being mindful of what she's going through.
Absolutely.
It's about Amanda's out here trying to take over the world, but does she get those random little text messages, girl, you good? It's going to be better than you think it is.
Girl.
Right? And so I feel like,
That's so
you
good.
know, doing the inventory of your life and the self, once we graduate from self,
Yeah.
and once we graduate from, you know, the healing process starting
Yeah.
and you realizing your trauma, then we got to get to the friends, honey. Because the women that are around you,
It has to be very
it's the bar that you set for yourself internally.
for who you're becoming.
Yes.
Don't surround yourself with people for where you are.
You used to be.
And surround yourself with women for where you want to go.
Let's take it here. You ready?
Go,
'Kay.
hit me.
Okay, I'm gonna hit you,
nervous.
honey. Don't be nervous. Be ready. Do you have requirements for the relationships you keep?
Girl, yes, I
Do.
Yeah.
Hey.
And you know when I got that? Last year. Last year, I said, I need to know, like I had conversations with each and every one of my friends. This is before I did the last Inner Circle recording. And I said, what are your standards or your expectations in this friendship? And here are mine. The thing was, I ain't cashing mine
Okay.
until this year.
Okay.
But I realized when I was trying to cash it in, I wasn't getting no withdrawals.
Insufficient.
It was insufficient funds. So I had to make an adjustment. You just got to pivot. It's okay.
Listen,
I made
that
it.
pivot
And
is
when
strong.
I decided to pivot,
Yeah.
when I tell you guys said, all right, bet.
Yeah.
Because you trusted me enough
Let's go.
to expect more than what you were being given.
Stop.
Here you go. Mentor. Boom.
Hey.
New circle. Boom.
You know God is to you who you think he is? He said, meet me halfway
That's it. Just give me a little bit.
and I'll give you the rest.
So for me, I literally, like, this year was a testament, and then everything else will fall into place. Once I got the right circle around me, and I
Everything
started
works.
to heal, and I got the mentor, and I did the therapy, then the friendship started to align. the business started,
Everything.
the standard of how I saw my business
Everything.
even shifted. And then even worse, it was just like it was just like, I don't know how to explain it. It was just like everything came into alignment to the point where it's just like, I can no longer live at the standard I was before because everything around me is holding me to the expectation of who I said I want to be.
Exactly. The requirements are real, honey.
Yeah.
Okay? If you are not leveling up in life, I can't actually be your friend and you can't be mine.
Yeah,
you
can't want to be stuck.
Yeah, if you don't have something that grounds you,
Yeah.
I cannot be around you.
That's so
If you are not someone who can hold themselves accountable and also hold me accountable, that's another requirement I have.
That part.
If you can't fix me, honey, and when I mean
We're
fix
not
me, I
gonna
mean,
sit in
hey
and
Amanda,
lie.
your hair's a little. Come on, sis, let me fix you.
Period.
Here. Sis.
I hold me accountable, but hold me to my best standard.
Yeah, because let me tell you something. Friendships also have love stories.
That's so good because the breakup stories of
Listen.
I swear to you, friendship breakups are the worst. They literally last like it took me
Forever.
3.5 years
Yep.
to break up with my first best friend. The relationship was 10 years. It took me 3.5 years to get over it. I said, what is this?
Do you know?
Like I been getting over a dude low key. 6 months.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
bet.
we good.
Like,
A quick vacation.
3 years.
We good. Listen, a woman can harm you way more than a man can harm you.
Listen, I feel the same thing for men too. Like men and men friends.
The bromance?
The bromances
is so important
I gotta
for them.
get a dude on here and
Yo,
talk
yeah,
about
we gotta
that.
talk about the bromance next. We gotta help him out. But men have real friendships and they love each other.
We're gonna stop soon.
My bad. You
Yeah.
know, when a man gets married, all his friends rally up.
Absolutely.
Gifts, everything. They have his
Absolutely.
back. They pray on him. Okay.
Period.
But when it's a woman's time, they just gonna take care of their outfit and make sure that they show up to your events.
Yeah, and it's just like make sure I'm my best self too.
Absolutely. So the requirements that a woman has for the relationships that she keeps shows you the self-value and the self-worth that she operates from.
That's so good.
Right? And we need to tweak that.
Yeah.
And another thing, it's like the woman I was last year is not the woman that I am this year.
Yeah, I'm evolving.
I'm evolving from last week.
So you gotta get to know me again.
So if you can't keep up,
and vice versa.
stay out of my way.
Period.
And that's what friendships should be on.
Absolutely.
You know, and so if you cannot be a woman that is on her way, we can't be on the same path.
So give us one piece of advice for the ladies out there who are in a cycle, who are trying to evolve, who are looking for love. Like one solid piece of advice for them, like to not lose hope and how to just hang on and keep doing the work.
Okay. You know, I believe God created us in pairs. He created us in pairs.
That's good.
I know.
That's so good.
You know, he created us in pairs, darling. And so if you think good of yourself and there's goodness in you, it don't matter what type of trauma you've been through. There's somebody else out there that has the same type of heart, that has the same type of capacity as you, and that will help you fulfill this purpose in life. Real love exists.
Yeah.
And we cannot deny that because if it's in you, once again,
Girl.
and you are love, you are made from love, made to love, made to operate from love,
Yeah.
it has to exist. Can you deny yourself, Amanda? Can you deny that you are a lovely, amazing, incredible woman? You can't deny that, darling. I won't let you deny that.
Yeah.
Okay?
You won't let me.
I won't let you, darling. And I know you do the same for me, but that also means there's a man out there he is praying right now as we speak, honey.
I know
Okay?
I know that's right.
and fasting and everything. And he's praying specifically for the woman that you are and the woman that you're becoming. And so what you focus on grows.
That's so good.
If you could focus on the love and focus on the growth and focus on the good. My whole brand is called Khair Life. People don't know what Khair means. Khair means goodness. We're trying to build that life that's based off goodness. And so I've been through things that you would never believe that I should even still believe in love. But it's when you look at the bad, there's always an opposite.
Yeah.
When you look at the abuser, there's always a lover man out there, honey, that will treat you right. And so if you've seen bad, look forward to the good.
Yeah.
If you are good, God will align you with that. So don't deny what it is that you deserve. Don't deny that. Good men exist. There's not a lot of them out there, but
they out there.
And you will only meet him once you clean up house.
That's so good.
You're not gonna meet him until you clean up house, until you get right with God. It's just what it is, and you have to go through the process in order to start that process of love.
Period.
That's it. So
I love that.
So believe, honey, they out there.
So it's It's believe and focus on the good.
And what you focus on grows.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so good. But you focus on growth.
Yep.
And yeah, that's a fact. All right, girl. So I'm going to ask you these wrap-up questions.
I'm ready for this.
So what is one thing you've discovered through this conversation that is needed in your circle?
A mirror in another woman. And that women need women. And women need good women. Mm-hmm. And women need to learn how to love women before they can even go out there and try to love other people. Mm-hmm. And that, you know, our capacity and what we hold is so sacred.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone, but it's the one thing that can really change this world.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that we already have it within us.
Yeah.
Everything you need is already there.
That's actually so good.
Yeah.
I always say that. I say your friendships and your single life and your friendships are a great determinant, are a great spectrum of how your relationship is going to look like. Like how you are as a friend and how you are by yourself.
Yeah.
Will determine how great your relationship will be. So that's really good.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what is one thing you've discovered through this conversation that needs to be removed from your circle?
I think idle spaces. People that, you know, are not bad, but they also don't pour in. Some people just, you know, are just there.
Yeah.
And anything that's stagnant usually comes with chaos.
Yeah.
Because it's not growing.
Jeez.
And if it's not growing, it's actually infecting your actual growth. So I think, you know, just being a little bit more selfish when it comes to what are we sharing? Are we sharing something that's good, and is it moving and is it growing?
Yeah.
If not, then maybe that person, you should just compartmentalize your friends. I got the friends that I invite to my big shows.
Yeah.
I got the friends that I invite to the VIP stuff.
Yeah.
I got the friends that I invite to just dinner and that's it.
Yeah.
And I got the friends that I see once a year, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So we just go, you know, pivot and
facts.
remove and,
Yeah.
you know, bring it in when it's necessary.
That's so good.
Yeah.
And I think my pastor has this book called Relational Intelligence.
Ooh.
Pastor Darius Daniels.
Okay.
And he categorizes all
Was he
relationships.
at your brother's event?
No, he's in Atlanta.
Okay, we
That
need to
is
go
my
there.
brother's pastor.
Okay, we need to go there.
And it's called Relational Intelligence, and he talks about the 4 categories, I believe. And there's adversaries, advisors, what's it called? When they're not like, what's it called? When they're not like, not your friend, they're just like, oh, these are like
Associates.
Thank you, go.
Okay.
Thank you. Associates, and then there's friends.
Yes. And we use that word way too lightly.
We use friends far too
Yeah,
freely.
because there's a lot of people I associate with. They don't know anything else about my
God
life.
bless you, associate.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Stay where you are.
And
Stay where you
are.
are.
It's like allowing people to stay in their lane.
Yeah.
All right. So last question: how did this space make you feel today?
Complete.
Oh,
You know, my name means complete.
that's it.
It does. And you know what? I feel like I'm complete sitting here. I feel like it's more than an episode for me. It's a step in my life.
Yeah.
It's an experience.
I love it.
It's a privilege to be here with you, to be quite honest. And you know, when you have conversations with people that, because we're heart people.
Yeah.
Let's just say what it is, okay?
Yeah.
When you have conversations that reiterate and rejuvenate
Yeah.
what's already within you, it's like the battery in your back. It's like we're charging each other up.
Yeah,
You know?
that's so good.
And every time I do talk to you, cameras off or on, it just rejuvenates and it gives me like a little bit more pep in my step.
Yeah.
Right? And
I love that.
And why? And it's because you're doing the work and you're showing up for Amanda. And if Amanda shows up for Amanda, she can also show up for Idil and vice versa.
That's
so I
so
thank
good.
you. I thank you for
Thank
believing
you,
in yourself.
honey. Thank you, girl.
I can't
this
wait.
Was so good.
You are exactly where you're supposed to be.
Oh, I receive it.
Yeah. I'm going to leave one more thing with our audience today. I always say this everywhere I go, and it's my 3 R's. And, you know, to kind of bring this, because this was a very holistic conversation.
Yes.
To bring it back to full circle, my 3 R's are that you have to release. So you have to relax, release, and receive. You have to relax to even feel yourself, to sit with yourself, to be grounded. Once you relax, though, then you can do the inventory of releasing what no longer serves you,
Yeah.
what no longer belongs to you, what didn't
Yeah.
belong to you in the beginning.
Yeah.
You can, when you release that, then you'll receive what God has in store for you.
Yeah.
So you relax, you release, and then you'll receive everything in your wildest dreams and everything that you're capable of doing. And I think that's the season that we're all in, darling.
Period.
So I appreciate
Absolutely.
you always
Thank
and
you so
forever.
much, honey.
I'm forever in your circle.
I love
Forever
you.
and always.
I love you.
And may God continue to bless you.
Yes.
I love you, darling.
Well, y'all just in our business.
Just all up in the business.
Yeah, but this was such an amazing episode. Thank you so much, Idil, for coming.
Always.
It was everything. And y'all, I'm excited. Relax,
Release. And we're going to receive.
and then receive.
That's right.
Period. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I'm going to tag all her stuff because she has her own podcast. She didn't want to do shameless plug. She kind of did, but I'm going to do it for her. Shameless plug. She has her own podcast. I'm going to attach everything in the bio so you can get connected with her and just follow her content. It's amazing. And I have a surprise for y'all.
Okay, surprise.
Are y'all ready for next month? It is going to be February, and you know that is Love and Black History.
Yes.
So stay tuned. We have a special co-host for the month of February. Are y'all ready? Can you guess it? Guess. No, you can guess it. It's okay. I got this. We got this. This was an amazing episode, and I just want to say thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you in February. Bye.